Okay, so like I said, the provincial is broken down by unit. So the first questions are all on probability. And there's a few things that you probably want to add to your reference sheet. So just looking at this first question, the survey was conducted in a local high school, found that 80% of the students play sports. What are the odds in favor of playing sports? Well, you have to know the difference between odds and probability. Remember, and this is something that you may want to add. I'm only going to say these are suggestions because, I mean, you guys are the ones that should be building your reference sheet. So odds. We could have odds in favor. So that means favorable, favorable to unfavorable. And then odds against is obviously the reverse. So it would be unfavorable to favorable. This is something that's not on the formula sheet. So, you know, that blue paper I gave you, you may want to just title the first section probability. Now, and then remember, that's different from probability. Because probability is favorable to total. And you can even add the word outcomes for there. So when it says the survey found 80% of the students play sports, therefore the probability of a student playing sports would be what? Let's say as like this, 80 to, no, it's total.
Oh, 80 to, wait, how many students are there?
Well, if it's 80%, how much is that out of? Right, so it'd be 80 over 100 or 80 to 100. That would be the probability. Okay, but we're not asked the probability, we're asked odds in favor. So what percent favorable?
80.
Therefore, what would be unfavorable? 20. The difference between 80 and 100. So it would just be 80 to 20. And you don't have to reduce it. Okay? Okay. Next question. When we talked about probability, we talked about theoretical and experimental. Theoretical is what should happen. Experimental is what happens when you do it. So again, that's something you may want to add. So for example, if I flip a coin 10 times, how many times would you expect me, or should I, get heads? No, out of 10 times, 5, because the probability is 1/2. But if I actually go ahead and flip 10 coins, am I going to get 5 heads? Maybe not. Maybe I will, maybe I'll get 6, maybe I'll get 3. Okay, so what should happen is I should get 5 out of 10, but I may actually get a different number out of 10. So Amy takes a loonie from her pocket, tosses it 10 times. Each time out of the 10, it lands with the heads facing up. So that means, according to experimental probability, the probability of hitting heads is 100%. Okay? Which is crazy. I mean, it's possible it could happen, but it's very remote. Okay? So for the next throw, should she think that, okay, it's got to be heads because it's been heads every time, or it's going to be half heads or half tails, 50-50? Which one? So base it on the fact that she's 100%. So because her probability was 100% when she actually did it, you should say that the probability is still 100%.
Oh, is it predict her slow though?
Yes. So, like, would the probability be of getting, like, she flips an 11th time?
Yeah.
What's the probability she gets heads?
50-50.
There you go. So you would say she would use theoretical probability. Okay. Because, well, the reason to explain it is the coin has no memory. Okay. The fact that she flipped 10 heads in a row, that's fine. But the coin isn't going to now think, oh, well, since I did heads, I'm going to do heads forever. Okay. So theoretical because the coin has no memory. Verb 3. This one's pretty straightforward. So the t-shirt sold at Springfield High School's store came in 3 sizes, or come in 3 sizes, small, medium, large. Last year, the store sold 76 small, 109 medium, 56 large. What's the experimental probability? So what actually happened, that a medium shirt was sold? How did you find that?
Isn't it?
Remember, probability is favorable outcomes over total outcomes.
So you add all the shirts together.
How many favorable outcomes are there? If I'm looking for a medium, 109. How many total outcomes are there? I have to add all the shirts, all the sizes together. Okay? Remember, probability. Favorable outcomes over total outcomes. It doesn't matter whether it's theoretical or experimental. And so when you calculate this, you can leave it as a fraction. 109, I believe it says, yeah, it doesn't say. So 109 over 76 plus 109, or what is that? I'm going to cheat. 241. Okay. It's pretty straightforward mark. This one, a little bit more complicated. Okay. Calculate how many medium t-shirts should be ordered if 150 are expected to be sold this year? Well, it's a probability of getting the median, right?
Yeah.
So whatever this is as a decimal or percent, I have to take it of 150. So it's this probability of 150. Well, of means multiply. Because this is the probability of getting a medium. And if I'm expected to sell, sorry. Now I'm looking at that question thinking that's not well worded. How many medium t-shirts should be ordered? What do they? Yeah, that's not a great question. It should say if 150 total are expected to be sold. That's how you have to answer it. I don't like that.
Yeah, this question, I don't get it. I don't like the wording of it. I like it after it says December.
It's what?
December, I don't want to get rid of it.
It says December. I believe that's decimal.
Oh, December, December?
Well, I'm just wondering if there's a reason.
Thanks for the shirt. I see that. It was. But I'm like, where is it? You know, maybe. I'm not reading your money. There's no one to make it. This is where we went like this. Yeah, I need to. You should write it. I know, so that.
Okay, anyways. So this is not going to give us an exact answer. It's going to be 67 or 68. Either would be acceptable. Okay.
Guess what I got today for my birthday? My friend who got 6'7" to do
When was your birthday?
May 16th.
Oh, happy belated.
Thank you. For the special, I forgot to have a chance to. Yeah.
Okay, next. Number 4. This should definitely go on a reference sheet because you don't get this formula. Under the probability section for expected value. How do we calculate that? We take the probability of winning times the payout or the payoff and you calculate payoff by amount 1 minus the cost. And we have to add the probability, because if there's a certain probability of winning, there's going to be a probability of losing. Times its payoff. We did a question like this during the year. So the Retro Record Company has been selling sound systems for decades. The company is bidding on a $350,000 contract. The probability of winning the contract is 4%, and it costs the company $8,975 to prepare a bid. So we want to calculate the expected value. So the expected value follow along what I've done here. What's the probability of winning? In other words, winning this contract. What's the probability of winning? Look at the question.
4%.
4%. But we have to write it as a decimal. Times the amount or the payoff, which is the amount you win minus the cost. So how much do you win? 350, but it costs you 89.75, right? So you've got to subtract those. So you've got to go 350 minus 89.75 to get your total payoff. If the probability of winning is 4%, what's the probability of losing?
0.6.
Yes, 96%. How much do you lose? It's the amount you win, which is nothing, minus the cost, right? So it's going to be 0. Whoa. Took off on me there. It's going to be 0 minus the cost. And that will get your expected value. Okay, and then you just calculate all that. And when you do, you get $5,025. Because remember, it's a dollar amount expected value. And remember, that represents, if you did this over and over and over again, on average, you'd be awarded $5,000. Okay? So, on average, it's a positive reward, isn't it? So is it worth it to bid on it? If on average, it's a positive reward? Yes. So really, if this is positive, it's justified, or you bid on it. So because 5,025 is positive, they should bid. Okay. If it was negative, no. Just remember, with expected value, if it's positive, it's good. It's worth playing, it's worth bidding, whatever. If it's negative, not worth bidding, not worth playing, not worth doing it. Okay. I think this is the last one in probability. And this goes, oh no, it's not. There's another one. The odds of having red hair are 2 to 99. That means, what does that mean? That means that for every 2 people that have red hair, 99 don't. So a student calculated the probability of having a red hair, 2 out of 99. What did they do wrong?
Yeah. Shouldn't be 101 as a total?
Should be 2 out of 101. Because remember what we talked about, probability is favorable over total. Remember the difference between odds and probability. And that's all you do for that.
I like that.
Yeah. And the last one. We are playing a dart game, or Sheldon is. He throws a dart at a board and wins a prize if the dart hits an odd number. He's allowed one throw. He can either throw it at board A or board B. Using probability, which board should he throw at? How would you do this?
All of the.
Yeah, right. So for board A, odd numbers over total. How many odd numbers are there on board A? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
So 10 out of 16 total. And you would want to make that a decimal because you need to compare it. So if you do 10 divided by 16, you should get 0.625. That's the probability of hitting an odd number on the first board. And then you do the second board the same way. Board B. How many odd numbers? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes? Yeah. Out of 9 total. Which gives us 0.66, and if we rounded it, 7. Yeah. Very good. So which one should he play? B, because it's a higher probability of hitting an odd number. Okay. And that, I believe, probably. Yes. Okay, vehicle finance. Let's go through this. I'd like to try and get 3 of these units done today. Yeah.
3. Holy moly.
What? We'll get, look, well, maybe we'll get 2 done for sure. Let's think on it.
I just hate for that in this unit.
And let's listen what happened to Martin, who took his classic car out for a drive.
Okay, I'll.
And I think he went for a lengthy drive. At the start of the trip, the odometer read that, and at the end, the odometer read, you can see there. And he used 90 liters of gas on this trip, so it was a pretty extended trip.
Wow.
We want to calculate his fuel economy. This is formula sheet. You have it at the back of your book.
Okay. Why are you on this? You're all sent.
So, using the formula sheet at the back, this is what it looks like. FE divided by 100 is equal to fuel used over distance traveled. Let's fill in what we know. How much fuel did he use?
90 liters.
Okay, so just 90. How far did he travel? Well, I have to take his odometer at the end of the trip. I'm just going to take out the 0 in front and subtract his odometer reading at the beginning of his trip. And I get that. So when we do this, whatever that 90 divided by that difference.
That's the price that cost the color can make it.
Okay. I'm going to say that. I'm going to round that. That's what you should get. So how do I find FE? Like you might as well just have it on your desk. It's so obvious that you're using it.
Yeah, I know, because I'm not trying to hide it. The fact that my desk takes a lot of much room.
Oh,
I'm not concerned about this.
come on. How do I find FE? Well, how do I get FE by itself?
Times it.
Times it by 100. Which means you got to times this side by 100. So you get 16 liters per 100 kilometers.
Oh.
This one, pretty straightforward. The cost of gas is 1.629. How much did it cost him in gas? How do you find it? Come on, focus.
I'm trying. I think we're all too tired.
We gotta do this.
Wait.
Really? You can't figure out how much gas he used?
This times 16.
What's this?
The cost?
No. Come on, you guys, think.
Oh, he is 90 liters.
Yes.
So that's
90 liters times the cost of gas, you guys. I'm sorry, I have to say it this way. This is a really easy question.
oh, we got there eventually.
So you got to focus. Don't think that you can just cruise through this. Okay. Next question. This is a multiple choice. Something you may want to add to your reference sheet. Okay. I wouldn't list a whole bunch of factors here. I just list one. So, what factor will affect the cost of your vehicle insurance? How old you are, the make and model of your vehicle, what sex you are, or what gender you are, or how much your vehicle mileage is.
Is it just B?
It is B. The make and model of the vehicle. Your gender does not matter. Your age does not matter. How much mileage is on your vehicle does not matter. They look at what kind of car do you have, or what the make and model, like, do you have a Hyundai? And if so, what kind of Hyundai do you have? Do you have a GMC? If so, what kind of GMC? So the answer is B. Number 9. She wants to purchase a used vehicle. The price of the vehicle that she's wanting to buy is $7,500, and the book value is $7,000. Or sorry, yes, $7,000. She pays $2,350 for a Leanne search. Calculate the total amount she ought to pay plus taxes. Well, first of all, I'll do this. How much is she going to pay for the vehicle? $7,500 or $7,000? $7,500. What's her tax? This is where you want to look at the end of the formula sheet to help you. And notice on that formula sheet, it doesn't say PST, it says RST. They mean the same thing. It's just they changed the name to retail sales tax. So notice for buying privately, you charge RST, but not GST. So how much is the provincial or retail sales tax? 7%. And she has to pay it on the higher of these two, which is how much she bought it for. So 7,500 times 0.07 gives you 525. The Leanne is 2,350. Does she have to pay any tax on that? Go to your formula sheet. Go to the back page of your formula sheet where it says taxes on vehicles. What does it say under Leanne search? No taxes. So she only pays $2,350. There's no tax I have to calculate. So that means we have to add those up. Okay? And when we add those up, we get $8,048.50. Right? Okay. Next. A is a bit of a challenging one. Because A, they asked in a slightly different way. We talked about depreciation, but we were always given the depreciation. We were always told it depreciates 10% or 20% or 25% or whatever. Okay? But this time, Carita purchases a vehicle for $28,500. The vehicle loses $4,275 in value during the first year. How would you calculate the depreciation rate as a percent? Wouldn't it be how much was lost over the total? It would be depreciation divided by the total times 100 to change it to a percent. So if you want to find a percent, you do the depreciation amount divided by the total amount of the vehicle times 100. So it's going to be 4275 divided by 28.5 times 100. I would consider that one of the more challenging questions on this exam. Okay, and when you do that, you're going to get 15%. Usually the question they ask you is like B. They want you to find the value of the vehicle at the end of 2 years. And they give you the depreciation rate. Well, first of all, we know how much it lost after 1 year, right? So value after 1 year, we already calculated it above. It was 28.5 minus 42.75. So after year 1, 24,225. How do I calculate the depreciation in year 2 if it's 10%? This is how much it's worth at the end of year 1. And it loses 10%, right? So don't I need to find 10% of this? So the depreciation will be 10%, which as a decimal is 0.1 of these multiplied the amounts that we started with at the end of year 1. And that means it loses $2,422.50. I got that right. Yeah. So, why do I? 24, 225. And then value after year 2. Value after 2 is 24,225 minus 2,422.50. And that's going to get me my amount, which works out to 21,802.50. Like so. We have it's going to be hard to get 2 done. Okay, well, let's just do as much as we can. This might be something worth putting on the reference sheet. We talked about this, types of vehicle insurance. I explained about pleasure and all-purpose. What's the difference? Remember?
She got her under for insurance and it's more expensive than doing it for office. Because funding for office is more expensive.
Okay, but what kind of things, yes, it's more expensive because you use it to go to and from
Work.
work or school. Whereas pleasure, you can only use it a few times to go from work or school. If you have a full-time job, not nearly enough. Okay? So that's really why the reason. So pleasure is less expensive. Or you could say all-purpose is more expensive because you use it to drive to and from work or school. And that means you're going to drive it more, right? And if you drive it more, well, but what's your risk of getting into an accident? Higher. So that's really what we would want to say. So we would want to say for all purpose, you drive to and from, you can even just say work, you drive to and from work, you know, school. Which increases the chance of getting into an accident. This is why pleasure is cheap.
When do you want to put that on the reference sheet? I don't know. I mean, you may want to just put all-purpose insurance to and from work. Pleasure, can't really use it to and from work. You can use it, what, 4 times a month or something like that? Or something like that.
Okay, let's finish up with this one. Katie takes vehicle to her garage for maintenance work. Vehicle needs a fuel pump for $134, new air filter for $75. She's got to buy some other stuff. That's going to cost $12. The garage charges $129 an hour for labor, and the work takes 3 hours and 45 minutes to complete. We have to figure out how much is her total plus taxes. Okay. So let's do the parts. Remember, split it up into parts and labor. What are the parts she pays for? Fuel pump for $134, plus air filter,
Plus some additional parts. We're not sure what they are, but we know they cost $12.
so we add that up. And we get 209, 221.
I think. Yeah.
Now the labor.
One tricky little part of this.
$129 an hour times, how do I write 3 hours and 45 minutes as a decimal? It's not 3.45 because remember, this is not out of 100, this is out of 60.
Would it be 3.75?
It would be. Because if you think about it, 3.5 hours is 3.5. So what's halfway between 3.5 and 4? 3.75. So again, that's like you see, there's some parts, you can kind of start seeing there's a few little points on these exams where you have to be a little careful. Where it's easy to make a little mistake. So you get $483.75. So the total, I add these two up. And I get 704.75. Am I done? Am I done? Taxes. And both taxes, right? So I'll just call that tax total, or total with tax, 704.75 times 1.12. To get that amount, which is going to work out to 789.32.
Yeah, we should be able to finish, we'll finish this unit on Thursday. Precision measurement is the next one. That one shouldn't take too long. Okay.
We should be able to get this whole thing done by Friday.